Welcome into the Verdin Verdict Sports Show. I'm your host, Jacob Verdin. I hope everybody's having a good Wednesday. Today we got a little update for you. We got some player notes, got some off-season things for you to expect from LSU and Brian Kelly. Of course, the college football playoff rankings dropped yesterday, so we got our instant reaction, and we'll do our Heisman watch segment. Look, I think the award's pretty much handed out. I mean, Vegas thinks they got a clear-cut winner. Maybe that's not worth much. Maybe they're trying to fool some people, bamboozle some bettors, if you will. But the odds are so heavy that it's kind of hard to look past what's going on, especially with Travis Hunter and all the hype that's being built up around him. I think he might have ran away with it. I don't know though. We'll have our full breakdown and whether or not it's exactly fair. I don't know if fair is the name of the game here in Heisman though, especially in college football. I got a lot of biases all over the place, and that'll go hand in hand with the college football playoff ranking segment. We've got some interesting tidbits for you in that one as well. If you got any comments, questions, concerns, you know the drill. Put them in the comment section. We'll get to them throughout the stream. Without further ado, let's talk about LSU real quick. We had some players talk yesterday, right after a good Vandy win. Everybody's feeling good. Everybody's feeling hype. Everybody's got their chest out and they're proud to be an LSU Tiger. And you want that. You want that confidence back because, quite frankly, that's how you get to where you need to be, the college football playoff, an SEC championship, things of that nature. You have to do it through manners like this. Miles Frazier, one of the players that met with the media, he was talking about just, the transition that LSU's offensive line has been under with the younger players of Paul Mubenga, Tyree Adams, different pieces getting put in at different moments, whether it be an injury, whether it be just a situational moment, whatever the case may be, they're cutting their teeth. And at first, they were a little nervous, they were a little shook, if you will, but they've settled in and now they're ready to be the future. And I feel like that's really the big overall message that we got from these press conferences yesterday. It's just that LSU is in a real passing of the torch moment. I mean, we got the final home game coming up. The season's coming to a close. A lot of players are making their decisions on where they're going to play football and if it'll even be at LSU next season. So with that being said, I mean, the players that we got to talk to, the Josh Williams, the Greg Penns, even the Savion Jones, you're probably not going to see him next year. I mean, Josh, you're not going to see. I don't believe you're going to see Miles. I don't believe you're going to see Greg. Same thing with Savion Jones with them accepting their Senior Bowl invite. Josh was kind of just talking about the extra work that the team has put in recently. You can talk about the players only meeting. You can talk about, leading by example. And him being, quite frankly, one of the, I'm not going to say the best stories, but he's a real, prove yourself kind of guy, going from walk-on to a scholarship player. And I think, him rubbing off on some of the younger folks, especially on that offensive side, is going to set the way and lead the example that LSU's future and the next players that are coming in are going to have to, quite frankly, abide by. This culture has to continue to be reformed and continue to be, heading down that path that Josh Williams would have went down. If you got more Josh Williams walking around in your locker room, you're going to be a better football team. It's just simply put. You need the mindset, you need the discipline, you need the motivation, you need everything. And I think, he's obviously brought that to the table during his time at LSU. Greg Penn, same thing. He's talking about the future of the linebacker room and just how guys like Devon Keys, obviously, with Weeks, they've shown that they're ready. They're ready for the moment. They're ready for their time next season to be the guys. They're no longer the up-and-comers. They're going to be the vets. So, that's going to be interesting. And there's some other interesting things that you can expect this offseason, I'm not going to lie. So, my first one, this would eliminate a major transfer portal need if, the opposite decision were to happen, but I believe your Garrett Nussmeier, he's going to stay. I mean, I don't think you decline the Kansas State bowl game way back when if eligibility and all this time as a starter wasn't at the top of your mind. I mean, at that point, you would have took the moment with everybody watching. You wouldn't have had a wide receiver play quarterback in John Trey Kirkland during Coach Armstrong's final season. I think the fact that Garrett Nussmeier made a decision like that, it's not very indicative. It's not 100%. It's not all of the decisions made. It just seems like, okay, he's going to value his time here specifically and in this role. He had 1 year as a starter, and I'm not saying it wasn't a good year. I think it was pretty good. I do think he can build off of it. I do think, his best is yet to come. And coming back, having the same developmental program, having the same type of, work and mindset and just overall path, like a Jaden Daniels or potentially someone like a Joe Burrow. You return some other pieces around someone like a Nussmeier. Maybe you get Harold Perkins back. Maybe you get an Aaron Anderson back, a CJ Daniels back. You get some pieces where you can actually start pushing and getting some momentum. And I'm not saying that LSU needs it. I'm not saying that LSU's screwed without it. What I am saying, though, is that if Garrett Nussmeier returns and, an Aaron Anderson, a CJ Daniels, pieces of that nature, I think you're in a lot better situation. Another thing that I'm not going to say is prone or probable to happening, but it was something that wouldn't necessarily surprise me, and that's a new play caller. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean Joe Sloan's gone. I don't know how that situation is going to go. This is just, hearsay at this point. I would say I wouldn't be surprised because, Bryce Underwood obviously decommits. There's not much anchoring a Joe Sloan to LSU. I had previously hypothesized that Joe, being the offensive coordinator going forward is pivotal for keeping that commitment. But now you're not really politicking for recruits anymore. Now you're not really trying to keep the relationships and the connections together, especially if the player's not even coming in the end. And I'm not saying that's the final straw or the straw that's going to break the camel's back per se. However, if there is a decision that has to be made for coordinators, it's obviously going to be made on that offensive side. I think Blake Baker saved himself. He obviously turned over this defense rather quickly. I'm impressed by the defense, and I think they're going to continue to perform even with, the departures they're going to face, because I think you target some good players in the portal, and that's my last thing to expect. I think there's going to be a huge push. I mean, you heard Brian Kelly say it. How much more clear can he be? They're going to be aggressive in the transfer portal. They're going to push. They're going to try to replace the pieces that they're going to lose in a Savion Jones, a Braden Swinson, a Zy Alexander, a Greg Penn, maybe a Harold Perkins. Obviously, you want to keep that guy. You want to keep Garrett Nussmeier. You want to keep the pieces that you could potentially retain to make that transfer portal haul a little bit lighter. You don't want to have to go in and grab every single position and every single side of the ball. But naturally, it's all going to be. It's all going to have to come down to the decisions at the end of the season. I think a Garrett Nussmeier would stay. I think a Harold Perkins would lean towards staying, but we've seen some crazier decisions, so it's going to have to come down to what's best for them and their opinions. I mean, I think Harold Perkins has a shot to be in the first round. I wouldn't be surprised to see him go. Now, Garrett Nussmeier, like I said, I do personally think his best is yet to come. I think if he comes back, he'll put himself in that much better of a situation to be a top quarterback, to be a top first rounder. I think Garrett Nussmeier could be a top 10 pick, a top 15 pick. Hell, if you have a good enough year and you have 2 years under your belt that you've been doing it and you've been proved and tried and true and tested, you could be a top 5 pick. It's just all about how you're going to, use this opportunity in the path that's in front of you. Yeah, you could get drafted right now, lower first round, early second round, and you could be a backup, developing and learning under, an experienced quarterback. And there's a lot of value in that as well. Some would say that's probably the smartest way to develop a younger quarterback, to not throw them out to the wolves. However, there's been a couple other instances, especially with the last 2 major quarterbacks at LSU, and Jaden Daniels and Joe Burrow, where they've kind of forged under the fire instantly. Joe Burrow getting to a Super Bowl in his second year. Jaden Daniels looking to be the offensive rookie of the year. I'm not saying you're guaranteed to have that type of status or, ending if you're a starter at LSU, but I do think it has something to do with it. Let's move into the college football playoff ranking, something that, unfortunately, LSU is not going to be a part of here anymore this season. Not a lot of SEC teams are really. There's only 3 SEC teams in the playoffs right now. I believe we had 5 about a week or 2 ago. Now a lot of things are changing. Let me pop this graphic up for y'all so you can see what I'm talking about. Big shakeup from last week, I think. A lot of upsets, obviously. A lot of teams going down. Alabama. Yeah, Ole Miss. You got a lot of upsets in that regard. But, all over the place. Colorado slides down. They got 4 Big 12 teams above them. They're going to need absolute madness to get in. We're going to break that down as well. Look, the SEC still, quite frankly, isn't really, shook out yet. You still got a team at number 20 in Texas A&M that has a shot. And I know I might sound insane saying that. A&M, 3 losses, just dropped to one in quadruple overtime to Auburn. However, you got a chance because if you beat Texas at home, and that's not the craziest thing in the world. That's not the most far-fetched reality for the Aggies to get a home victory against the Longhorns, trying to welcome them into the SEC and spoil their SEC championship bids as SEC rookies. It's a lot of Southeastern Conference dropping, but I'm just saying, A&M has a shot, and they're number 20. Crazier things have happened. I've warned you. Colorado, 4 Big 12 teams being above them. Now that's insane. This is how they would get into the college football playoff if there would even be a chance. First things first, they're going to have to win out. Obviously, easier said than done. Can't drop any more, though. At this point, Colorado will 100% be cooked if they drop. I believe they only have a 3-8 game, or a game against a 3-8 team in Oklahoma State. Then they're going to need 2 of these 3 teams to lose: BYU, Texas Tech, or West Virginia. Texas Tech's going to play West Virginia. BYU has an interesting game coming up. I'm not saying it's impossible. What I am saying is, when you have other teams controlling your fate, when it's not in your hands, when you've got to hope somebody loses or an upset happens here or there, or in this situation, 2 out of 3 of the top teams lose, it's just not good. It's not indicative of you earning a playoff spot. Now you got to even worry, if you get in, if you win, are you even going to be voted in? Yeah, you get the automatic bid and all that, but I mean, at the end of the day, I could see an opportunity, or I can see a real world where potentially, a Big 12 conference could see a lot of people get left out. You could probably only see the champ get left out. I'm not trying to say it's fair. I'm not trying to say it's good, bad, ugly, whatever the case may be. But with all these losses piling up, a team like BYU, you can't argue for them no more. You could potentially in the past, when they had their little undefeated run, they only had 1 loss. Well, last weekend you screwed it up. I would have been on your side, BYU. I would have been screaming for you. You know what? They deserve a shot. Now, I don't have anything left to say, anything at all. Your boat's sinking, and I'm going to have to jump off of it, quite frankly. Colorado, you're in a similar spot. You really don't got that much hope left. You got a Heisman probably in Travis Hunter. We're going to get to that here shortly. Let's talk a little bit more about these playoff rankings, though. I mean, look, you got another Heisman candidate in Ashton Jeanty getting Boise State to number 11, right? Now, let's get a little more tricky. We're talking about teams losing. We're talking about opportunities. We're talking about different I'm not going to say lower pack teams, because this one's going to be a little bit of an insult close to home. But if Boise State loses, another G5 team, I think, can slide in, take that spot from them, and make some noise in Louisiana, at least in the recruiting world for that matter. Number 17, Tulane. Yeah, that's right. I'm looking at them. The Green Wave's a lot better than a lot of people are going to think. I'm not going to lie. They're the second highest ranked G5 team. You saw Army slide down. Like I said, Boise State's above them. But look, if they lose, and the Broncos have come very close at times to losing. At times they've been on the ropes, about to drop. Sometimes, hell, they get knocked down and they barely even stand for the 10 count. But Ashton Jeanty, time and time again, is cheesing on people over and over and over. Well, guess what? Tulane's got a little bit of a cheeser as well. Mekhi Hughes, number 8 in rushing yards. He's got 1,291 on the season. You know how many LSU has as a whole, as an entire team? 1,295. He's 4 yards shy of LSU's team total rushing yard record. I'm not trying to say that he's better than Ashton Jeanty. I'm not trying to say that Tulane could beat Boise State. I mean, look, they probably can. I think Tulane can beat a lot of teams in this top, 17-ish range. I think they shouldn't be at 17. Whatever the case may be, there's a chance. And it might be a small chance. It might be very minuscule. However, it's fun to kind of just rumor and riddle. What if the Green Wave in John Summerall's first year actually do what he said he came to Tulane to do? I mean, in his introductory press conference, a lot of people scoffed. He said, we're going to go in the college football playoff. A lot of people. All right, back. I was saying it's not impossible for Tulane to just draw. Oh, sick. All right, pretty sure we're back on. Not impossible for Tulane to just draw recruits. I mean, you got an NIL budget, you got boosters, you got people helping you out. The trend can continue. I'm not saying that's why they're where they are. They got a good culture. They've been winning. They got a good coaching staff, and they have been recruiting in the right way. Louisiana's got a lot of talent. LSU can't grab everybody. ULL can't grab everybody, and they're doing a very good job at piecing together what they can, and I think, they're going to be a contender going forward. Real quick, let's talk about Happy Dad. You know the drill. Best taste in hard seltzer. Gluten-free, no artificial flavors, low in sugar. You know where to get it. Walmart, Rouse's, Albertsons. Or you can hit the link in the description. Use code Verdin15 for 15% off. They got merch, Black Friday sales this week. Go ahead, join in, get some merch. We got the shirt on underneath. We're repping the brand. We got the Terrible hoodie on right now, but we always repping Happy Dad. You know the drill. It's a little chilly though. Got the cold front coming in. I had to bundle up, but you know the drill. Happy Dad, Verdin15 at checkout. Thank you for the support. Let's move into the Heisman watch. Ashton Jeanty. I'm not gonna say he's getting robbed. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna put these graphics up, and I'm gonna let everybody have their own inference. I'm gonna let everybody make their own assumptions, gather their own information. Here's the deal. There is something on this odd chart graphic that's not accurate, though. I will correct that. They said receiving yards. I think they say he's 14th. He's not 14th. He's 7th. I checked NCAA. He's 5th in receptions. Travis Hunter, that is. 7 in yards, 5th in receptions, 3rd in touchdowns. Ashton Jeanty, obviously number 1 in damn near every rushing category. I mean, he's an absolute baller, right? Now let's look at the odds, though. I mean, when you look at these statistics, when you look at the situations, college football playoff implications. Hold up. Let's just look at the rankings, too. I mean, this is where Colorado is. 25, barely hanging on. You got Boise State in. And at number 11, a lot of people are thinking, oh, they're barely in. No shot. They're the G5 spot. They're going to be a top 6 seed, top 7 seed. They're going to move up from 11. It don't matter if they're 12, 13, don't matter. With the way that the conference championship bids are going to align, they're getting in. If they win out, obviously. But Ashton Jeanty having an opportunity to carry the Broncos to the playoffs despite Colorado falling short. Does Travis Hunter perform? Does he catch deep balls? Does he get touchdowns? Yes. However, I'm just bewildered. I mean, at this point, the Heisman Award, it's similar to most MVP awards at this point in sports, and unfortunately, it's similar in the fact that it doesn't always go to the best player. Sometimes it goes to the player that is the most popular, has the better story, is going to garner the most attention. And I'm not saying it's good or bad, and I'm not going to argue that Travis Hunter shouldn't have it. All I'm saying is minus 1,000 and Ashton Jeanty being plus 750 is insane. I think Travis Hunter pulled away with it, obviously, clear as day. Look, his wide receiver stats are not bad. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, he's a horrible player. He shouldn't be getting this recognition. He shouldn't be getting a Heisman Award. I mean, look, he's been consistently showing out. He's improved his statistics from where they were weeks ago. I had a big problem with this a few weeks ago. At this point, number 7 in receiving yards, number 5 in catches, number 3 in touchdowns, tied at number 3. But still, it's impressive. I'm just confused on the discrepancy in odds. I mean, is it impressive enough to outweigh what Ashton Jeanty's been doing? Running damn near 200, 300 yards a game, getting 2 to 3 touchdowns. At times he's getting 4. Got his team in the playoffs. I mean, it's insane. It's insane. And another inference that I'm going to make about this Heisman is pretty interesting. No quarterbacks in sight. You got the number 1 team in college football, Dylan Gabriel, quarterback of them, plus 6,000 plus. He's plus 4,000 on some sites as well. I mean, but albeit, I mean, this is normally a quarterback award. You've seen a quarterback win it, 3 to 4, 5 years in a row? It's interesting. I mean, you could drop your takes in the comments on who you think should win the Heisman. I would vote, if I had one, I'd give it to Ashton Jeanty. I'd have never thought that Boise State had a snowball's chance in hell to get in the college football playoffs. And look, they're probably knocking on the door. If they don't get in, then I guess, I can see the Travis Hunter situation. I could also see the Travis Hunter getting the award if they were in the playoffs. But the fact that Colorado falls short and there's a potential for the Broncos to slide in when, by the way, nobody in the country would have thought. If you said you would have put Boise State in the 12-man bracket, winning the Mountain West, being a top 6 seed potentially, you're crazy. Nobody was guessing it. And it's interesting that Boise State's going to get potentially hoed out of really the only Heisman they could probably ever get. I mean, when is Boise State going to have this opportunity again? That's all we got for today, though. Thanks for tuning in. Hit the like button on your way out. Please make sure to subscribe so you join in our stream at 3:30 on Friday. Actually, the show is going to be TBD. We're going to be on the way back, traveling home from the holidays, so we might do it at around 1. We might do it at 5. I'm going to post Thursday night on YouTube to let everybody know for sure. And we will be previewing LSU Oklahoma. We're going to have our usual game day coverage. We will be in the stadium for the final game on Saturday. So stay tuned for that breakdown and the post-game coverage. And y'all have a good week. And happy Thanksgiving. Early Thanksgiving, but happy Thanksgiving.